Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. In today's video I want to talk about a camera that I haven't talked about yet. This one. Yeah, that's right. You might think, did he lose it? This is a game controller. What does he mean? Well, let's find out. You are absolutely right. This is a game controller, in this case a game controller for the PlayStation 4 that I own. I have a PlayStation, I have a Switch, and I have a gaming PC that I also use for video and photo editing. And yes, for me the game controller is more than just a game controller. For me this is an entry into virtual worlds, fantastic creations by some very creative people in the industry. And what many games have, in case you don't know that yet or you're not a gamer yourself, is photo modes. So in certain games you can actually have a virtual camera that you can control with a controller like this one here, and you can take photos. And what I want to do in today's video is to show you some footage from a game that I play on the PC, because I cannot record the PlayStation 4 footage for YouTube, and just show you the principle of taking photos within a game. So let's start with Fallout 76 on the PC. Let's jump into it. We are in game now. This is one of the characters that I'm playing. It's actually quite dark right now, so you don't see him well, but what you see is the nice light effects that this game has, which I believe is really cool for in-game photography. So let me quickly walk you through the options of the photo mode in the game so you can see what the capabilities are. We take a first photo, then I'll show you maybe a second location, because here it's actually quite dark for something like a portrait. What we can do here is, for example, a landscape shot. So let's first switch to photo mode. So this is the photo mode. Once you're in photo mode, you have these photo controls on the lower right side of your screen. The first one is the field of view. So basically, yeah, like a zoom lens, you can zoom in and out. So it's your focal length. Here you can flip the camera horizontally, which I won't do because I want to have the horizon straight. With depth of field, I can control if I want to have bokeh, so to say. So you can see if I turn it off, everything is kind of like sharp. So if we have this on, we have this blurry effect. And then with strength, we can control how much blur we want to have. And then distance is something like our aperture on a normal lens. So if I increase this, I basically have a higher aperture like f16 or f22. So more and more gets sharp. The lower this is, the less is sharp. And range is, in this game, nothing else than focus. So if you go into the extreme, everything is unsharp, and then the further I dial my focus ring, the more comes into focus, depending on basically the aperture that I have in game. Now I said we want to take a landscape photo because we don't want the character in frame. He's anyway in the dark right now. So what we can do is we can go here and say show player and set it to off. And then we basically just have the landscape. And now we can move freely and position ourselves. And what we now want to do is, because of the landscape, basically, I don't want to have the depth of field. I want to have more or less everything sharp that I can have. Let me choose the focal length. I like actually these structures. I like how moody it is. It actually even rains if you pay attention to the screen. And when you're happy with your frame, you can also go a little bit further down. I want to have a little bit more foreground in my picture. And when you're ready, you basically hit the take snapshot button and it takes a photo. That's it. That's the first shot that we took in game. Let's now go to another location so I can show you a different region of that map, and also want to show you that there's basically different light and different weather depending on where you go on the map. We are now in something that is called the forest region. So here we have a lot of trees. It's not as desolated as the other region is, and we have a cabin over here. So let's go to this cabin and see if we can take a nice shot somewhere here. This time maybe a portrait with the character in frame. Let's have actually a portrait here with him, and the sun comes from there, so we position him into the light and then switch back to photo mode. So we are back in photo mode and we have the character now in the frame. What we can do with the character, by the way, is we can set the facial expression. Let me go closer so you can see. Oh no, it's gone too close. So we can have no expression, we can have afraid, amused, angry. So you can really work like with a model here. I mean, of course limited, but it's kind of like fun. And then concerned face, very confident face, disgusted, flirting, friendly face, happy, impressed. I think you get it. But for this photo, I'm just going back to no expression. They also can do poses, so you can have the character pose or do something. So let's do this just for fun. And then, yes, so we position ourselves. By the way, in the background, you see there are other characters moving. It's a living world. So let's take a full body shot of this character, very confidently standing there. I think the field of view is good. And let's see how much bokeh do we want. I think like this. And the focus is also good like this. Let's take another shot. And now what I want to show you is, let's do a more headshot, more portrait style of photography. So we go with a very close lens. We increase the bokeh, basically we take a slower or a wider aperture. And let's see, what do we do with the focus? I don't think we have a good separation of him in this photo, but I just want to show you how this looks like in general if you want to do photography in game. It looks almost painted, this background. Let's take a photo from below to make him look more, I don't know, powerful or majestic or something. So this is what I like to do in this game. I like to freely roam around, find nice spots to take photos with or without the character. As you see, there are other people here in the game. You can also enter, of course, the houses, take a look, take photos, interact with people. And yeah, so you can just freely roam around and have fun taking photos, especially in times like these when you're more bound to being at home. I think it's a good option, at least for me. It's fun, and I do this in many games, but I think you get the idea how it basically works. Back to my living room. Now you've seen how I take photos in-game, in this case in Fallout 76 on the PC, but the same thing I do also on the consoles. Let me now show you a couple of more photos that I took in Fallout 76 so that you get a better idea on what you can actually do and how creative you can be while using photo modes in-game. Besides using dedicated photo modes like you've just seen in Fallout 76, there is also the option to take regular screenshots in many games. So especially if a game doesn't have a dedicated photo mode, what I like to do if I enjoy the game and I find it visually and creatively pleasing, I take screenshots. Now the challenge with screenshots is that there's something going on, like an interactive cutscene, or you're in the middle of an action and you're anyway pressing a lot of buttons. You can press the screenshot button and freeze a moment. Now the challenge with the screenshot options versus the dedicated photo mode is that you just have this limited control of the viewport. So either you see a cutscene like a video in game, or you're in the middle of the action and the camera is kind of like fixed by the game and you can just press the screenshot button. The challenge is to press the screenshot button in a moment when you think that there's something interesting going on, there's a nice composition by the director of the game or the action that you were just controlling. And so this is another side that I also enjoy while playing video games, again, especially if those don't have a dedicated photo mode. Let me now show you a couple of examples of games where I took screenshots in moments that I thought were worthy capturing. These are the two ways how I take photos in these virtual worlds, in these video games. One of my creative outlets, especially in these times when I spend a lot of time at home. And it also complements the normal photography I do, so I really like it, I enjoy it. This is also an aspect of my life that I haven't really talked about on this channel yet. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this type of photography. I know it is maybe on the edge of what we usually understand as photography, but for me personally, it definitely belongs into the category of photography. And yes, I mean, it uses maybe a game controller or a mouse and a keyboard and not a physical camera, be it digital or analog, or a smartphone. Let me know in the comments below if you are also playing video games and maybe also taking photos in video games. I would be curious to learn more about you as well. And also let me know what you think of these types of videos. I know this is maybe a little bit different than the usual content on my channel. I enjoyed making this video and thinking about photography from this angle. And yeah, so this is it for today's video. If you liked it, please consider leaving a like. If you love it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.